This daily market update has been brought to you by Daily Wealth Report. Trading involves risk of loss and may not be suitable for you. Past performance is no guarantee or reliable indication of future results. All advice and education content is of the nature of general information only and must not in any way be construed or relied upon as legal, financial or personal advice. Good morning traders and investors, it's Friday the 27th of July and we've seen the markets rallying quite strongly overnight on comments from the ECB's CEO Draghi and of course some relatively positive earnings reports out of the US as well. As we can look at the FTSE index in front of us at the moment, we can see it was up 78 points, a nice strong short-term bullish reversal point that has occurred on the 50-day moving average. That's 1.3% rise there, closing at 5,573. So if this is now a high low to this point over here, we may be looking at a return back up to around that 5,700 level if buyers persist. The German DAX was a very similar story, whilst it hadn't retraced as far as the FTSE had. The German DAX certainly did show some strong buyer activity on Thursday. Closed up 2.7%, gaining 176 points, closing at 6,582. But the performer of the night was actually the French CAC 40. It gained 4%, closing 125 points higher at 3,207. So a strong return of buyers in that particular market. The positivity flowed through to the US markets. The Dow Jones gained 211 points, closing 1.6% higher at 12,887. It's now back at its previous highs, or getting close to its previous highs. So if this range is still in play, we should be seeing a slowing of that buy momentum. So anyone wanting to chase the markets at the moment, this is not the right time to be doing so. Needed to be getting in at the beginning of the markets yesterday, which would have been quite hard, seeing as the markets did gap up whilst the candle shows that it's open and rallied. The reality is that the markets had gapped up, and getting in and chasing this market is a little bit hard at this point in time. We'd be looking for a little bit of selling activity as we reach this high. We've seen this movement before. We can see it back here in late June. Again, very similar in the middle of July. So we're not holding high expectations of a break of 13,000 points just at this point in time. The S&P 500 showed a very similar story. It had gained 1.6%, 22 points to close at 1360, and again it has a little bit more room to move up to its previous short-term highs, but remains within a sideways trading range. The Nasdaq index, however, underperformed the broader market. It did gain 39 points, or 1.3%, closing at 2893, but we can see that it hasn't shown as strong a bullish activity. Now, one of the key reasons for this is the earnings reports that have come out from Apple, and Facebook as well had come out with its earnings reports last night, and it had closed down 8.5% during market hours and is down 10% in aftermarket trading. So Facebook will have a bit of a negative sentimental influence on the Nasdaq index itself. So with the markets rising, we'd seen the VIX index coming down quite heavily. VIX was down $1.81 or 9.3%, closing at $17.53. So we can see that that's gapped down here. It still remains well above its long-term lows, but if the US markets do break upwards, then we will see the VIX back down towards these 1540 levels here. So that's the VIX being the volatility index that measures the sentiment in the markets. Closer to home, the ASX 200 formed a relatively strong bullish reversal point yesterday. So following that hammer pattern at the bottom of the market there, we discussed how that any upwards activity will have the potential to be driving the markets back up towards 4200. The ASX had gained 24 points, closing at 4147, and the SPI futures are actually up 38 points, which is going to show a strong open to the day. Our expectations are that we will see the markets push up, falling just a little bit short of 4200 to start with, but getting in and going long at this point in time is still a little bit difficult, because again we're going to be back up towards the top of this range, and at this point we will start expecting slowing in the buyer activity and for some profit taking to come in. So chasing these markets can be a little bit difficult. You need to be getting in a little bit earlier than on the big move itself. That's our summary for Friday the 27th of July. We hope that gives you a little bit of insight into what's going on at the moment, and we look forward to talking to you again on Monday.